Welcome back to Finquesty. Grab a seat, be ready, because today we are going to completely shatter the pure meritocracy illusion. You know, we all grew up being fed with this super simple equation: hard work equals massive success, and laziness equals failure. But as you navigate the real world, you will quickly realize that hard work is really only one piece of the wealth puzzle. There are these massive, invisible, symmetrical forces at play which are governing our financial lives. And honestly, if you don't understand them, you are leaving your future entirely to chance. So for today, let's dive into chapter 2 of Morgan's Housewell's absolutely brilliant book, The Psychology of Money. This chapter is titled Luck and Tricks. And let me tell you, it completely reshapes how we view success. It forces us to look right past those glamorous magazine covers and dig into the messy, complex reality of how wealth is actually created and lost. Today, I want you to view this not just as some abstract financial theory, but as a survival guide for your life. Whenever we look at billionaires, we kind of just assume every single decision they made was a calculated stroke of pure genius, right? Well, to challenge this, let's examine the ultimate success story of Bill Gates. The year was 1968. According to the United Nations, there were roughly 303 million high school age people in the world. About 80 million of those live in the United States. Filter that down to 207,000 in Washington States, and just over 100,000 in the Seattle area. And out of all those millions, only 300 students attended Lakeside School. Why does this matter? Well, because Lakeside was essentially the only high school in the entire world that had the cash and the sheer foresight to buy a computer in 1968. And 8th grader named Bill Gates just happened to be one of those 300 students. That translates to literally 1 in a million statistical reality. 1 in a million high schoolers had access to a computer. Now, Gates himself is actually incredibly humble about this. He fully admits that if there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft. Did he work incredibly hard? Yes, absolutely. Was he genius? For sure. But he also had 1 in a million head start. This just proves that invisible force pushes us in directions that our hard work alone simply cannot account for. Which brings us to section 2. Meet luck's sibling, risks. You see, luck does not operate in a vacuum. It has a sibling, a symmetrical force that pushes in the exact opposite direction with the exact same magnitude, which is called risks. You can't believe in one without respecting the other. Back at Lakeside School, Bill Gates actually had a best friend named Kent Evans. By Gates' own account, Kent was just as brilliant, just as ambitious, and just as skilled with computers. They were going to conquer the world together, but Kent never got to build Microsoft. Before graduating from high school, Kent died in a tragic mountaineering accident. Every year, there are only about 3 dozens mountaineering deaths in US, making the odd of dying on mountains in high school roughly 1 in a million. Guess experience 1 in a million luck, while his equally deserving friend experienced 1 in a million risks. They both face the exact same magnitude of force, just pulling in opposite directions. The world is just too incredibly complex to allow 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. Keep this in mind when you are judging famous business icons. The lesson here isn't that hard work doesn't matter. Bill Gates is super smart and worked harder than almost anyone. The lesson is that luck and risks are siblings. They are both the realities that every outcome in your life is guided by force other than your own effort. We live in a world with 8 billion people and infinite moving parts. It is mathematically impossible for 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. But here is where our psychology tricks us up. When we see someone else succeed, we tend to call them lucky because we want to feel better about our own positions. But when we succeed, we point out 80 hours work weeks and our genius decision, completely ignoring the invisible hand of luck. And when we fail, we call it bad luck or the market. While we judge others' failures as bad decisions or laziness. Take Vanderbilt or John D. Rockefeller. They frankly broke laws to build their massive empires. Historians love to call them scrappy visionaries who did not let outdated rules hold them back. But think about it. That line between inspiringly bold and foolishly reckless is often a millimeter thick and really only visible in the hindsight. A slightly shift in risks, maybe a slightly different judge, and these stories could have easily been rewritten from celebrated billionaires to just ordinary criminals in jail, and we would call them criminals and use them as cautionary tales of what not to do. They flipped a coin and it just happened to land on the lucky side. Let's move to section 3, broad patterns over extremes. This brings us to a massively important part of today's lesson. Now listen closely. Before you go out there and try to emulate the billionaires dominating your social media or news feeds, the way we study success is fundamentally flawed. Think about it. Don't focus on extreme examples. The billionaires on the cover magazines. Why is studying an extreme outliers is actually dangerous for your wallet? Because the more extreme the outcome, the less likely you can actually apply its lesson to your own life. When you study billionaires, you are trying to replicate an unrepeatable combination of extreme skill, extreme luck, and extreme survival over decades. You literally cannot copy and paste his luck into your own portfolio. So instead, look for broad patterns. Stop studying specific individuals and start focusing your energy on broad, reliable patterns. Broad patterns are actionable. For example, instead of trying to perfectly time the stock market like some famous hedge fund managers, notice the broad patterns that people who have control over their time tends to be much happier, or the pattern that people who save consistently, no matter what the economy is doing, tends to build steady wealth. Follow the common trends, people, not the crazy outliers. Let's shift gear from philosophy over to practice. Understanding luck and risks is great, but we really need to talk about ensuring that you actually survive in the financial game when risk is inevitably shows up at your door. If you take just one thing from today, make it this safety net framework. Firstly, assume you won't always be lucky. Bad things happen to very smart people too. Secondly, never ever put all your money in a single place. Third, diversify your investment. Basically, don't use so much leverage or take so much risk that one single bad investment or one bad stroke of luck wipes your portfolio completely to zero. Why? Because the most important is the fourth, staying in the game, which is the absolute secret to the compounding wealth. You just have to stay in the game long enough for the mathematical odds to finally fall in your favor. If you get wiped out, the game is over. Managing money isn't really about math, is it? It is about managing your own psychology when real money is on the line. So, I put together this survival toolkit for you. Check your ego at the door here. First, acknowledge the exact role of luck when you succeed. It keeps you incredibly humble. Second, forgive yourself when you fail. Sometimes you did not even make a bad decision. You just experience the reality of risks. Third, do not let the winning streak convince you that you are invincible. As Gates says, success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into the thinking that they can't lose. And on the flip side, don't let a losing streak convince you that you are totally foolish. Accept that failure is just an unforgiving reality, not necessarily a sign of laziness. Hard work does not guarantee a win, but it is literally the only variable you control. And finally, we come to the final life audit. Before you graduate from this masterclass today, I want to leave you with a profound psychological anchor for your life entire financial journey. This is how you protect your mind in a world ruled by these asymmetrical forces. When you audit your own life outcome, apply this golden rule from Professor Scott Galloway. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. When you look at someone who is incredibly wealthy, remember, not all that success is due to hard work alone. And when you see someone struggling, not all the poverty is due to laziness. We all are playing a massive complex game with over 8 billion other people and infinite moving parts. Give a little grace to others and please give grace to yourself. So, I am going to leave you with this final thought. The next time the roulette wheels of life lands on a massive success or crushing failures for you, how will you choose to measure your worth? Are you going to let your ego take all the credit? Or will you acknowledge those invisible forces of luck and risks? Learn from the broad patterns and just prepare to play the game smarter tomorrow.